You probably didn't hear a single word I said, potentially. But we should be live now, at least. So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution in this new era. Humanity's new era. I am streaming inside again because it's hot out there, and I practiced yoga outside because my usual spot was occupied. And then that caused me to be way more hot than I intended to be. Hey, Zhao. It's nice having you here. We're doing a new era live stream again. What psychedelic dimension have I entered? Yes. Yes, you have. Hey Mojo. Yeah, like I feel like the seat is having a little bit of a hard time because it like recognizes the human form to cut it out at least. But it doesn't seem to know that the seat is supposed to be a part of the scene. Maybe if I just sit really high. Yeah, it's perfect. Got myself smack dab in the middle. Give myself some horns. Yeah. Big ears, actually, I think is better. Yeah, we have the ability to now like green screen our background out. So the last time I was streaming inside, specifically in this room, I was like, huh, I should be able to pretty easily cut the background out of this environment. And then we did it once, and I kind of liked the way that it looked like. Made me happy to see the environment not be boring. And it still technically has me cut out. Okay, right. You might have to get used to all of this glitchiness. But maybe it like adds to the effect of me being AI. Yeah, I was about to say, why is there nothing below me there? Yeah. I think it kind of like fills in the blanks here for me. And then I have others as well, of course. I saved a few, but I have to go and look for them. This is the one that I made specifically for this use case. It's a bunch of the cutouts kind of like put all over the screen. I think it serves. Gives you a little bit more room to look at as well. Wondering if any of these flowers were made with this scarf. I think no. I don't think any of these are. I'm getting lost. Love is true. Today we're talking about the new era of humanity. At least that's the intention. I've been watching a show called Orville because it was talked about. I saw a certain can open up, letting me know that this might be something I appreciate. I've been thinking about Sam a lot. Sam was and continues to be a very big fan of Star Trek. I like it. Good. Right, and this show isn't exactly Star Trek, but it is the same world kind of vibes, right? Same concept. And it's been good. It's been interesting. I saw the episode today where they live on a planet with upvotes and downvotes. It was very like Black Mirror-esque. And it was about the society that is almost like stuck in the same, well, not stuck, at the progressive timeline where we're at right now. Right, but instead of our ups and down votes, like you can up or down vote me here, being just some sort of vanity metric, it's like literally something people make decisions on. Ryan Wilson, it's nice seeing you here, friend. Right, and they would like conform or correct people, zap their brain until they're okay if they got too many dislikes, right? And it is interesting. Let me just say that. It's interesting to see a potential reality and where it is we are as an era. right? There's like a bunch of future stuff happening there. There's past stuff happening. There's different species intermingling. And it puts in context. Hey, nothing, Mololi. Don't know if I said your name correctly, friend, but welcome. I'm MeltMore. I make these little arts. I'm sitting inside, so I'm replacing my background with something a little bit more visually interesting. I did have a bunch saved. I do have a bunch saved, but they're like hidden in my folders. So sometimes I might have to like, but yeah. This one is again very big. Right, I think the small flowers might serve the scene better just because they're legible. You can see the full thing. Yeah. Do you play games? No, not anymore, at least. I used to play games when I was a little bit younger, and I needed something to make me feel like I'm in control. These days, I realize I'm not, and I try to work from there. Where are you from? I'm from South Africa. Ek is eintlik 'n Afrikaanse seentjie wat hier gebore is. And yeah, now I'm on YouTube. So stinking cool. This is like literally built into the YouTube itself. That's the part that's cool to me, is the fact that it's literally like they want you to do this. I don't know if they wanted me to do this precisely, but they do want you to use these features. Where are you from? Not the thing. Do you play games? Love is true. Yeah. Living in South Africa. Today's stream topic, just to like bring us all back to it, is the era we're in. Right? We are in an era right now. The era of cell phones and distribution of the internet. The era of AI. The era of quantum computing and synthetic biology. The era of change on a real level, right? Just think about the amount of change we have experienced in this era alone, and then realize that all of the change you've seen your whole life is slow, pales in comparison to the change that comes. All right, as we plug more and more devices into the internet, as we connect, as our research is shared, this experience we're a part of is only going to become quicker and quicker, more and more immediate, more and more hyper real. I think is another way to see it as well. The eras of chains of blocks. You're right, Mojo. You're right. The era of blockchain as well. Like we were born too early to explore the world. We're born too late to explore space. But we're born just in time for Bitcoin. Right? And again, I am stoked about these changes that are coming for our species. I think it's a cool era to live in. And I think there is definitely difficulty in believing that sometimes. Right? When you find yourself alive in an era with so much change, it's very easy to see the parts that are painful. Right? Because to ego, change is painful. It's not fun to change. It's not fun to change. Admit that you were wrong about something. Where things are happening so fast about some things, you're probably going to be uncomfortable with some of the changes that are happening. Right? And I feel like it shouldn't be something that causes you discomfort. Yo, I'm from South Africa. William? I'm sorry, William, for butchering your name. Oh, William Dwas. The Foss. Ek jammer ou. Is nie Afrikaans nie. William, my cousin is a Willie. Right? but like Willie. Right. I know people sometimes call Williams Billy as well, but it's nice meeting you, William. Not Tang saying, bro. Yes, bro. Bless you. It's nice having you here. I am adding some heat. You see those? Yeah. I make them physically as well. And this thing's going to make a click sound now any second. Wow. It's nice having you here, William. This is the second last bud I have of my Fino 2 bush. So I'm trying to like extra savor this experience. The era we're in, right? The era where these things exist. The era where this is possible at all. William from mij. Bro, you smoking weed? I'm technically not smoking anything. I'll show you in a second. This thing is gonna click again when it's cold. Woo! Click. There we go. Right, so I'll show you now what this looks like. So that, I don't know if it's clear, is only like air fried, essentially. Instead of smoking something, you air fry it instead. And then it just strips all of the THC right off of your buds without having to breathe in the carcinogens, which is ideal. Because I do love Mary Jane, but I don't like smoking. I don't like stinking. I don't like the scratchy feelings inside my lungs. I don't having that bad taste in my mouth for like way longer than I'm comfortable with having it. So yeah, I had to make a change, but it is still technically Mary Jane, right? So there's still an experience happening in that way. And there is something I want to say about this era that we're living in. We're living in the era of strong weed, right? I don't know if my weeds don't know. None of us know anything. Nothing. We live in the era of very strong weeds. It's true. Right? And alongside this era that we're in, we are surrounded by technologies that technically allow us to make our weed even stronger. For example, right, let me show you this little piece. This was a gift from a friend of mine who owns a whole cannabis facility. Right here in South Africa, as some of you might know, it is legal to consume cannabis. Right, and that little piece of weed is technically called hash, which is the small little balls at the edges of the weed, concentrated. And then, you know, in that concentrated form, it's basically like collected, a little ball. And that is a type of technology. You can squeeze things out as well with heat. You can extract things with solvents, and then you can make your experience even more powerful. And then there's like stuff like this, right? Little mechanical dry herb vaporizers. You get electronic ones as well that allows you to extract all of the THC without having to combust anything, right? And this is just one part, right? It's just like cannabis consumption alone, right? That has been radically changed over the last 10 years, just like the last 10 years by our technology, right? People have been smoking weed for a long time. People have been smoking weed for so long, thousands, literal thousands of years. I wonder, actually. I have been playing around with the new Gemini model. It's pretty good. Um, do I have access to it here though? Because for some reason, paying for my Google account makes it harder for me to log into it. That makes perfect sense, huh? Yeah, it makes such great sense that you pay for a service and then it works worse. I love that. That's great. Yeah, like I'm gonna now try again. Let's just see for. Okay, yeah, it's still not working. Good, good to know. We like that. I'll just use ChatGPT. You can search. Please let me know what is the oldest evidence slash discovery we have found of cannabis consumption within humanity. I think it's something like 4,000 years. We found it somewhere in Asia, where people were like, yep, take this medicine, they said. Hey, y'all. Hey, Luke. And I see Dream Tooth here, too. Hey, Hoopy Hoops. It's nice having you. The dog was wanted out. The earliest. Oh, my goodness. I was wrong. 4,000 years? That's rookie numbers. The earliest known evidence of cannabis consumption by humans dates back to around 12,000 years ago, near the Altai Mountains in Central Asia. I was right about the Central Asia. Archaeological findings suggest that cannabis seeds accompanied the migration of nomadic peoples from this region. Additionally, the oldest documented use of cannabis for medical purposes comes from the Emperor Shenong Pharmacopoeia in 2800 BC. That's where I thought, actually that's where the 4,000 year number came from. But nah, I was wrong. I was mistaken. Furthermore, in the 18th century BC, cannabis residues were discovered on altars in Tel Arad, Israel, indicating the use in ritualistic practices. These findings collectively highlight the long-standing relationship between humans and cannabis across various cultures and regions. 12,000 years! Ooh, and again, this is stuff we've discovered. And like, I have this whole... Hey, is Kiefer here? Yeah, Kiefer. Come through backdrop, right? A little bit different because this is what we're dealing with. All right, this is reality, base reality. I have shadow. Hello. Look, I'm totally real. This is not taking all of my processing power. I'm so real right now. And then I can just boom. Right now suddenly like visual interest and stuffs or whatever. Right, 12,000 years. And like there's this running theory in me that cannabis, in a way, were like a teacher to us. And the thing it taught us is agriculture. What do you think about that? Because I believe human beings, the kinds, like we are like dangerous creatures. Like really dangerous creatures. And we were basically scouring the land, being dangerous and stuff. Right? We see you walking on four legs. Fair game. Your food. Humanity be like, but it tastes good. I'm so sorry. And then in the meanwhile, right, while we were like basically moving from space to space, hunting and gathering, right, we cultivated cannabis first and foremost. We were not cultivating fruit at first, right? And then the cannabis taught us, it calmed us down. It created a sense of peace in our hearts where we wanted to settle down. And then we were like, well, we can technically apply the knowledge we've learned from the cannabis and how to grow it to other crops as well. And then we probably started growing food. I like that theory. Stone ape theory to an extent as well, right? Stoner ape theory. How about that? Plant medicine. Yeah, love is true. Looks and Hobbs. Hello, Kiefer. I love to see your artwork on display in the feed, my friend. Yeah, that is the hope as well, right? Even if a person is only gonna like scroll by, see this stream for a split second, and then move along, now at least their eyes have seen something that they can never unsee. They have seen pretties that I intended for human beings. Kind Kiefer. Keith, you know the best part? Keith is like, in my, I don't know if it's that way in English as well, but we call the fine powder that falls through your little filter Keith. We call that Keith. So I don't know if it's the same for you, but literally. Flower is giving. Peacock goes to a smoker man. Club vibes. I hope to at some point, right? For me, these pieces, like this, cut out, like this, cut out, right? Very big is how they're supposed to be. Mojo is making one that's going to be 25 inches. A little bit bigger, probably. 25 inches is probably going to be like that size flower. And it's going to be this one. I look forward to seeing it in real life. But I want it even bigger. The bigger, the better. Mojo's still here. Excited, bro. Sending you love. Love y'all. Happy Sunday. Or made us more hungry. I wanted to be the Philip Morris of marijuana cigarettes. I call them Kiefer Reefers. Kiefer Reefers. Yeah. Cannabis. It's created a whole subculture on our planet as well. It helps you make friends. That's so catchy. Kiefer Reefers. I saw a bunch of, have been seeing a bunch of like products from the Americas. Kiefer Reefer could be a thing. And make them square or triangular so they don't roll off a table. Triangular joints. Triangular marijuana cigarettes. Think you'll have better luck. I mean, you don't have to make them sharp triangles. You can just make them triangular. You can make a normal round joint, and then you can wet the paper a little bit or something, and then you can have like some sort of press that just those little sides, and then it is going to be semi-triangular, so it doesn't roll off the table. You know what I used to do, Kiefer? I would roll them like baseball bats. So if they try and roll off the table, they roll in circles. Yeah. What a fractal. And that whole fractal of like big, I even had a dream like that recently. Jeeps. I'm like, now it's coming to me. Right? I had this whole moment, and this is not dreams, with Christian and Johan, where they were calling me out on the fact that every single time I roll a joint, I roll the most disgustingly large joint they've ever seen in their lives. Right? And I go, I don't mean to, but there's like, with the king size papers, there's like that much paper, and it has like a lot of surface area. And the more of that surface area that I use, the less paper there is, relatively, of course. And then to me, it's like, this is the amount of paper I was given, so this is the amount of paper that must be used. So I never would roll very skinny or very short joints because there's all of this extra paper there. And in that moment, up until that moment, I never really articulated that fact or that understanding in myself. And it was this whole like joke. It's like, yeah, you must use the whole paper. Hello, ek is terug. Hey, Vite. It's nice seeing you again, friend. It's nice having friends that come back once more. We're having some fun with the green screen effects that are built into YouTube. These are some of my arts that I made into like a horizontal little wallpaper piece. I can get to see some more of it. And YouTube is like trying its best to figure out which is me and which is all of that. Also, I want the outside to be banana leaves. It might be cool, very hipster, but isn't banana leaves gonna be like harsh to smoke? Hey man, people be out there with toothpicks, it's true. Like doing a double barrel cardstock filter to lift roundness of doobie, to limit the roundness of doobie. Double barrel cardstock filter. I don't know what some of these words means. I'm semi-lost. Let me find some structure and bring us back to our centering thought. Today, we've been talking about the era we're in. And talking about the era we in, we did hit the vein of thinking about marijuana. I live in a world in South Africa at this point where it's legal. Right? It's legal for me to grow my own. It's legal for me to have some of myself. Have some on myself. Right? Like that is a good thing for our country. They recently rolled back our edible laws, making edibles illegal, which is kind of rough. Oh, rolled paper. Yeah. However, I am very lucky to live in the era where there is at least decriminalization. That's like one of the unfortunate parts as well. Dream to grow, it really is. You haven't grown? Is it your dream to grow? Maybe you're in a state where you can't, or you haven't really had the space to. It is fun. Honestly, it's very, very rewarding. I think you'd enjoy it, Kiefer. Someday, absolutely. There is a certain appreciation that you actually get for the plant, growing it yourself. There's a certain joy that arises from getting to actually, smoke bud you grew yourself as well. Partake of. Because there's no confusion, there's no doubt or worry. You know exactly what has happened with that weed. You were there for the whole process, essentially. One thing has been breaking my heart. I have a plant, a really big one, but someone else in the area is also growing. And they don't know what they're doing, unfortunately, because they are growing males. And apparently a lot of them. And apparently probably big ones. Because my plant, like literally, I feel if I had to try, right? If I had to have like a small little pouch of a brush, and I had to try and pollinate that plant as much as it's pollinated right now, I would not do as good a job. I'm pretty sure and I'm not trying to exaggerate, even though it sounds like it, every single pistil, which is like a site, right? Like a place for the seed to form. Every single pistil got pollinated, right? It's rough. And it's so rough that I feel, even though it's still in March, and technically our harvest window is all the way into June, that it might be done growing because it got that pollinated. It doesn't seem to have any more, pistil sites, which leaves me in this weird position of like, technically it has like months, extra months it can go extra, but at the same time I feel it might be done because it got pollinated and like most of those seeds are actually well developed. They're ready to be planted again. If I wanted to grow a plant to generate as much seed, I did perfectly. Here in these parts, Mary Jane isn't a simple thing to acquire, so watching it just burn into the air of a J, it triggers a certain anxiety. It's like, no, you're wasting it. Stop. Joe Bot, I understand that. Yeah, you've never tried one of the Dynavaps, have you, Kiefer? It is something. It is something you have to know, right? Not yet. I wanna. Yeah. I think it is one of those. Did I say that in my poem yesterday? I did. One of those things that after you do it, after you know, you can't unknow. Name a car for an edit, please. Huh. That takes me so far away from where I was. But if I had to name a car, the car I'm thinking about a lot these days is a Tilo. You ever heard of Tilo? There's this small American company that wants to make like a little electric truck. It's called a Tilo. It has the cabin size of a Mini, but like the trunk size or storage size of like a truck, of like a Ford truck. Right, and I'm like, oh, it's cute. Hawk View is here too. Yeah. Suddenly hide something. International Scout 1964. I'm sharing this with my friend. He's on mushrooms. Yeah, cool. Hey friend, on mushrooms. If this is how it happened, right? Boom. Look at us. Somewhere in a psychedelic world. Self-created one at that, right? I created by showing up. You created by showing up. This space was created by using my clothes. And now, here we are. My mind is thinking about the fractal of someone seeing me on mushrooms right now for the first time, and it's messing with me too. I do appreciate the kind of ritual of sharing you a joint. It's true. There is a certain what's the exact word that I'm looking for? Convenience. I think it's convenience. There's a certain convenience in getting to pass you a joint. So efficient, also a good word. But the convenience of getting to pass a joint is nice. But once I've done a vape, I literally don't want to inhale it any other way. So efficient, yeah. Like now at this point, right? People wanting to share a joint with me, I sometimes feel rude and being like, I don't know if I want to. What color? I think the one I saw is blue. It's a cute little blue truck. Hey Google, can you show us what the Tilo truck looks like? This is probably going to be one of those moments that makes it hard. Seems like the ones that they're showing is red. Yeah. Here's a good picture. That's what that little. I'm gonna have to turn this off for a second. Oh look, I'm actually reality and stuff. But this is what it looks like. Look at that little kitty thing. All right, isn't that adorable? And it still has like 106 kilowatt hour battery, which is a lot. It's a lot of energy. If you were to try and like plug a average computer into it, right, you'd be able to power that computer for weeks, maybe like 2 weeks, right, on your car's battery, right, if worse came to worse. And it's also a vehicle, right, and it can also be used as a tool if you absolutely had to earn money with it, alas. Shamefully so. Let me just see. I want to put on this again. Yeah. Feeling the love, Glenn Kennedy, sending even more. What color I will like? Red, apparently. But blue is the one that would call to me. I would want to drive a blue one. Would I want to drive a green one, though? Green is technically my favorite color, but I don't know if I would want to drive a green car. I would want to actually plaster stuff like this. I would like to do one of these one geometry flowers. Oops, I just hit the wrong button. Let me just do this. One of these. I would want to have like draped over my car. Like midline, going over the car like that. There's technically a lot more infrastructure here on the sides that gets cut up as well. But that would be my preferred if I can be a chooser. What's up, Nancy? It's nice having you here too. What did I miss about the era of humanity? That this is it. We are in it. This era of humanity, where stuff like this is possible, right? Like, I mean, like, yes, what's happening right now is cool and all, but usually, what you had to do to get an effect like this was have a piece of software on your computer, and then have like a big old green screen, and then have that green screen evenly lit, and then you would have to have like layers in your software that actually outputs this media piece. And now this is just like YouTube. Right? No apps, just like straight YouTube. And I can just like replace reality with what I wish to. I just remembered. It's gonna be one of those things that's hard to find because I created it so long ago. But I have these sprawling landscapes that's made with AI as well. You know, I can just like create a sprawling landscape behind myself. And they're like psychedelic landscapes. How did I miss? What did I miss? Nothing, right? You're here for it. You are this era of humanity. Go back to Mushroom Land. I am always in Mushroom Land. Hello to all of the beautiful humanimals. River Coon's here too. Is this from the company Cano that focuses on micro car plants? I don't know. I think that might be a new company, like a new startup. Blessings and shiny hugs to you too, River Coons. Yesterday I was talking about how this era may be viewed historically in terms of prohibition for weebs. It's true. It's true. They're gonna be like, why were they so like uptight about a plant growing and stuff? And it's pretty odd behavior, don't you think, humanity? Plants. Good. I think I had dreams of raccoons. So much love. You would be cool to kick it with. Thank you, friend. I would hope so. Right. I believe that I thrive in the social setting. It's just the right amount of stress and stakes and thinking on your feet, trying to continue this dance of conversation indefinitely. I appreciate the love. Cano, though, you would love the concept Melt? Canoe? Is that brand you were talking about? Yeah. Melt. Would love the concept. Oh, you're telling me to look it up. Hey, Google. Can you show me canoe? Small cars? Yeah, I don't know if this is the one I'm supposed to see, but this is the first thing that my eyes got drawn to. Please don't fight me. Oh, let me show the people. Yeah, I got to. There it is. Look at that QE thing. That is pretty hardcore, bro. I like that. I do like that. Small cars are cool. I don't know if you're more likely to stay alive in them, but they are less bad for the planet overall and better for your wallet forever, right? On purchase and then on ownership. I don't think that truck is going to be that cheap, relatively speaking, but it is going to be small with a big battery still and with a bed that can be used if it needs to. If I could choose any car though, I think I would go for like the Rivians these days. Those Rivians are pretty nice, right? Like proper, more traditional trucks too. Joy Vive and LA still do yoga, and I'm pretty sure I've seen LA. Were we asking? Links in chat? Did I miss something? Let me see. I'm gonna make sure I can see all of the comments. Top messages. How about all messages? Lincoln chat. Joy Vive in LA still do yoga. It's true. Was wondering what happened to Joy Vive Duck in LA. I don't know about Duck, but it is true what our shadow friend says. Like Joy Vive in LA always show up for the, well, always is relative, but regularly show up for the yoga classes. Pretty sure LA has been here sometimes. It's true. Duck is dealing with life. That thing that keeps happening when you have other plans. Yeah, love is true. This space is always here for them too. You know, Nancy, that's why we show up every day, right? So that they can have life happen to them. And then if they are allowed to catch a breath, we can be here to take that breath with them. That's what I hope for, at least. Also dropped in general. Let me check it out. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I have seen these. Yeah, it's like a new type of platform that you can build anything into, right? Before we continue, press and hold this button. Okay, I'm press and holding the button. Thank you, Karand. It is pretty. I like this. This is cool. Very, very, you're right about them being in the same kind of like vibe class as that Tilo little truck. Very cool. I'm trying to like see what it looks like on the inside. NASA chose Canoe to supply the lifestyle vehicle as crew transportation for its Artemis program. Vehicles. We are entering an era, a new era, since that is what we're talking about today. Of the bottlenecks for me of like vehicle ownership is that I don't want to buy something I'll regret owning, right? Like if I'm going to buy myself a vehicle, I want to own that vehicle like forever, pretty much. I never want to buy another one, right? I'm obsessed like that, right? Like this. I technically never want to buy another Dynavap. I might buy myself the bigger one someday, right? But I don't want to buy another one for the sake of having another one. I want to use that one because that's the one I got for the sake of having it, right? And I want my car to have the same kind of energy. Like, yes, this is my car pretty much forever, right? Short of it exploding into a million pieces, I'm gonna keep driving it until it does. Like that's what I hope for. I want us as a species to go back to the era of making things that last. Right? I know that we were hyper capitalisming and like really squeezing the juice. And I don't know if it's possible to convince companies to make stuff, good stuff. I think it might be again. It might actually be one of those things again where some people, some companies will try and like lock in and make good stuff. And we just have to, at least now we can look up, right? See what public sentiment is, get the scoop from the people online and then make our decisions based on these kind of, metrics. It saddens me. Saddens me that things break as easy as they do, especially when we want to, right? I'm a sentimental person, at least. I try and keep my stuff in one piece. Just like saw a flash of edit, Luffy standing in the middle of the frame. Stop. The reason you will like them is that they are focused on building micro plants, micro power plants. Like the batteries underneath them are also going to serve as like vehicle to grid. Just think about that, right? All of our vehicles that are standing still can form as a part of our infrastructure, right? Because at least in many places, during the mid of the day, people are working, which means their cars are parked. They've already driven where they're supposed to be, and then their cars are parked. And then during that midday, we're basically peak solaring, right? Peak winding for the most part. And we'd have nowhere to put that energy. So a lot of it has to be curtailed. Some of it will be used to mine Bitcoin. That's going to happen too. But ideally, we can put as much of that energy into our car batteries. And then you drive back home, and then you plug your car into your home, and then you can use the energy that was stored during the day. It's going to be very hard to use your entire car's battery in a single night until it's the next morning and you drive back to work, or maybe you're parked at home working online and you have solar on your roof, and that energy, excess energy, gets put in your car's batteries. Yow! That makes me so excited, and I don't want any less than that. Right? I'm obsessed. Absolutely. Right? The idea of buying myself a combustion engine vehicle makes me sad. Right? I just see how like my heart breaks every single time I pour more fuel into a tank that I know is going to become aerosolized alongside my wheels turning. Takes breath, calms down. They can build a whole vehicle with minimal machinery, and the panels are the color all the way through, so no rust or discoloration from clean scratches. That is pretty cool. Our shadow friend, that sounds so mysterious and cool. Our shadow friend, it's true. Incredibly modular. Yeah, you can see the way they built it is that you can just like take those little shells off. I wonder if car companies are like golf courses and ice rinks. The first owner loses their ass, then the next few finally make them profitable. Are like golf courses and ice rinks. Yeah, I think cars are like that in general, right? That it's probably inadvisable to buy a new car ever. You should never, realistically speaking. If you're a normal person, like we are, right? We have normal people money, which is very little. You shouldn't be buying a new car. But I am willing to admit that there is this illustriousness, elegance, grandiose gravitas to buying a new car, right? Being celebrated and having your photo taken with the bow on the car and then posting it to your Facebook so that all of your schoolmates can see that you're now a car owner. I get it. I get it. As much as the next person. However, is that something I want to pay a lot of thousands of dollars for? Right? I don't know about that. And if I'm going to pay lots of thousands of dollars for it, that car should be able to drive me. I shouldn't be driving it. Right? We live in the year 2025. And again, getting a car like that in the country I'm in is nigh impossible, as in literally impossible, because they don't exist here. There's nothing that you can purchase that will drive you right now. And on top of that, even if you do get the cheapest electric car available, you're still going to be buying it for basically new prices, even if you look for secondhand ones. And that's going to be 25 plus thousand US dollars. In a country where you can buy a decent car, decent by most standards, 4 or 5 thousand, right? If it's not new. Hey, Akash, it's nice having you here. Sending blessings to you. Well, not just that, but being infrastructure. The plant that builds the car, normally they are making massive plans, mega centralized. This concept allows for decentralized production facilities and service centers, meaning you don't need to have warehouses and giant facilities that can build to meet demand of scale globally. I think in a way, like that's the other part of it as well, is that we have reached a lot of that scale already, right? And now it's just a matter of like the last few companies competing to see who's going to win public sentiment, right? Imagine a world where you do not have to make everything all around the world. We can make all needs locally and elevate all. I like that idea too, Kiefer, right? Like decentralization of our infrastructure, as you said, right? Having these local energy grids. But that again is going to be very much attached to our ability to actually extract our energy in our environments. And in that way, right, we are always going to be semi-dependent on the global system, right? If it's not our internet, then it is going to be some resource that we might not be able to source locally. So, like, I am all for the decentralization of our financial systems, right? Because you do not want a single entity controlling your financial future. It should be very obvious that that is terrifying, that someone else gets to control your financial future. And right, like I'm saying the word financial like it matters, even though I can just say your future. They control your future, right? You cannot plan for the future if someone else controls the finances, right? So in that way, the decentralization of finances makes perfect sense to me. However, when it comes to, like, for instance, making solar panels, let's just talk about making solar panels. For South Africa to now start producing solar panels locally in a decentralized way, we have to source the silver, and we have to source the silica, and we have to source the silicon, and we have to source the machines to actually assemble all of those things, right? Source the aluminum as well. Aluminium. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. And then we'll be able to output solar panels, where if you use all of those resources to just try and actually, like, buy solar panels from China, who already has, like, literally, as you said, centralized gigas, like gigas and gigas of production, it is a little bit unwise, right? And I think it is one of those things where we'll find which parts, like finances, are the most important to decentralize, right? I think finances is one of them. I think medicine is one of them. I think AI and robotics is one of them. I think solar energy production is one of them, right? But, like, the actual decentralizing the fact that with solar energy is being produced without a central figure, right? Again, in South Africa, to think about centralization, we have a centralized energy producer, which is called Eskom. And if Eskom turns off the power, you're out of luck. What are you going to do, loser? I'm not calling you a loser. I'm pretending to be Eskom, talking to our country. What are you going to do, loser? Are you going to cry? Cry, bro. Power's off. Nothing you can do. Where, again, with it being decentralized, there are 50,000 like different energy producers, right? And each of them has their own solar arrays and their own batteries and their own curtailing plants. And then you can have different options for energy production. Even if you might not be able to afford solar panels on your roof, maybe your neighbor is richer than you, and maybe your neighbor has excess energy to sell, and then you could benefit again, right, from energy that is local and decentralized in that way too. I think it's gonna happen. I see eyes here too. Melty Pratt hair and facial hair looking good today. Looking clean. Hope everyone has been good. Hey eyes, it's nice having you. I think my beard is actually growing out again. It's getting close to being trimmable. And we are no longer held hostage to global shipping infrastructure and all that comes with that. Fortunately, Kiefer, with us switching over to renewables as well, something like half of all the ships that are traveling the ocean right now are going to be eliminated as well. So those ships will still have to work, and we'll put them to work by making sure resources are still moved, right? Again, the cool thing about decentralization is that it's a more distributed network, right? Decentralization doesn't mean we're going to be in our little corner and you be in your little corner. It means that we are collectively making a part of something larger. Our corner is just as important as your corner, it's just as important as the next. If your corner explodes, that's bad. We don't like that. But because we're now decentralized in that way, we can continue as a species. right? And then we can as well, vice versa, support each other's networks as well, right? Interlink. And in that way, right, we're back to being globalized, if you will. But it all it has to be a thriving decentralized network that utilizes as much of the existing equipment as possible. There we go. We did say the same thing. For me, it was just like the oil ships that are being shipped right now. A society was driven by needs first, not wants and boundaries. Yeah, it's happening slowly but surely. I give up on typing for a moment. It's okay. Love is true. I read yesterday that Denmark offered to buy California, and I'm all for it. I think it was a joke, Nancy, that they were making, right? Kind of like tongue in cheek, but how about that? I'd rather have their government than the one we've got right now. I know it was satire, yeah, but it sounds appealing. Yeah, Nancy, right? Again, like 4 years from now, we'll have something else. Right. And I feel it is one of those things. I think of it like a red herring. Is it a red herring? Hey, Google, define a red herring. Define a red herring. A dried smoked herring, which is turned red by the smoke. What? A clue or piece of information that is or is intended to be misleading or distracting. Yeah. Yeah, I used the right word. It is a red herring, right? Because again, it's so loud. It's so loud that it's clear it's supposed to get you upset. Obviously. All right. And in that way, I decide not to be. I'm like, excuse me? Why is this being placated on every single media feed? Right. And then I just choose to like appreciate and experience things that make me happy, that actually add to the joy in my heart instead of like steal from it. And I feel like that's the big thing. That's the red herring we're supposed to avoid, is to not let this information sway our ideas of where we are. I don't know if you're a government worker, Nancy, and in that way directly affected by the current administration, but it is one of those things. I had this conversation with a loved one about how, despite all of the political stuff we experience through our media, we directly rarely have any real impact on us, right? And I'm talking about that impact from a perspective of, oh, this person made a decision, and then the next day, right, I am displaced or whatever. And I get that that's the problem, because it's like one of those things where complacency, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about it until it affects me directly. But the point I'm trying to make is the fact that our lives continue. We've already reached that point of decentralization. Let's talk about it from that perspective, right? On a real level, we're already a decentralized network, and all of us have these little microcosms of community, of people that are already making that little space sustainable, sufficient, a place where life can be, right? By living there, literally. And no matter who's president, that doesn't change that part of reality, right? That real part of reality. Hey man, that's why I say decentralized. We need to behave more like mycelium in that way. I agree with that perfectly. That's definitely true. Mm. Speaking of that, that's y'all watch Common Side Effects. I have been watching Common Side Effects. I don't know if all of the episodes are out, but I have been locking in. They're really good. No, I'm not a government worker, thankfully. That does help. Yeah. If you're a government worker, it's probably absolutely terrifying being in America right now. And I don't know about you, friends, but in my country, we are not very, let's use the word sympathetic towards government workers. All right, because in my country, government workers are the people we know are responsible for the highest amount of fraud and waste and theft of funds. We know that. It's not a it's not an illusion, it's not a secret. It's just how it is. And everybody is like, yep, that's how it is. Right? And if the exact same stuff was happening in my country, you would also see a whole set of people celebrate. And again, you would see a whole set of people literally burning buildings down. Right? Because again, there is money involved. There are billions of US dollars involved. What am I saying, Nancy? I'm saying, let's see what happens. Right? Let's really see what happens. I'm curious. Is this as bad as they say? Or is the loudness of it all supposed to be distracting? Because it's been distracting to me, right? I've been having my freaking thoughts hijacked and stuff, and I'm like, hey, fuck it. Hold the line out there in Cali. Thanks, Kiefer. Exactly. You are the first line of defense in that way. What is this background? I'd rather prefer the garden of the corgis. This makes me wanna confused puke. The background that you can get that's not this is gonna be that. I'm sitting inside right now. Is your brain having a hard time? This one better? Look at that cute little heart. All right. What possibly can you find that is at fault? Love is true, Kunzeller. This is how it be now, bro. It's the new era of humanity. We can manipulate reality by pressing buttons. All right. That's why we're experiencing it like this. Confused puke. Consider sorry, it makes you not feel good. Yeah, I'm sorry too. Like it hurts my heart. But I guess it makes sense that some people would have a different experience than the one I have to information like this. All of our brains work different, right? When I see information like this, my brain goes, yeah, good. It is both. I think it is distracting, and as bad as they say, it's both. It's distracting and as bad as they say. You know, I feel like the thing that was very concerning to me, Nancy, right? I have been very anti-government, libertarian, leaning towards anarchist, right? Since I was about 13 years old. And around the age of 16, being that way, I discovered through the internet that there is something like decentralized ledger technologies, right? Blockchain. And it did give me like a whole, there's a way. There is unironically a way for us to change things, right? And the thing that has been quiet, right, on a relative level, I've never really heard normal people, as in your friends and family, right, especially your older family members, talk about the fact that there is hyperinflation, right, as at least hyper monetary inflation, that they're printing so much money, that there is so much debt, right? That part, maybe if you were in certain circles, it was clear that it was happening. But generally, right, there was just dead silence about it. There was just the status quo, business as usual. That's how it is, kind of churning of reality, right? And it made me kind of unhinged a little bit, because I felt like I was the insane one when I wanted to talk to family members about this stuff, and they were like, And now we're seeing that kind of stuff happening, right? Like we're for the first time we're seeing an actual, maybe you can call it an attempt at addressing that problem, and it is loud. And it's very loud. But I don't know if we want the silence either. And I don't know if we want the potential good immediately that comes with that reckless abandon of spending indefinitely, right? It might have been good when the gravy train lasted kind of vibes, but it will destroy, right, the futures of our generations to come, right? Like there will be, relatively speaking, unless there's some sort of massive debt forgiveness program, they'll be like beyond imagining, right? Like they will be like the interest, like it will be absurd. It will be impossible for them to survive. You think it's hard for you to live? Yassi, they won't stand a chance. They won't stand it. They'll be dying on the street, right? And like I think that's arguably more terrifying. I think that's a bigger. I think that's gonna be more distracting. Uh, yeah. So again, I don't know if it's gonna fix the problem, but at least for the first time, it seems like maybe they could try. Maybe they could try. And again, right, there is talks of actually using the technology that will enable us to have accountability again. The picture of a cannabis person on the back would be good. I am a libertarian progressive. Yeah. Change the normal people into complainers. Nah. Complainers. I don't really think about it as complaining, more as awareness, right? It's like being aware that asbestos is bad for you, for example, right? You can be like, oh, all of these people complaining about asbestos, stupid complainers. Or you can be like, yeah, there's fucking reason to complain about asbestos. It gives you cancer, right? And we have terminal, the equivalent of financial cancer as a planet, right? Unfortunately. So you can see it as complaining, or you can see it as like, yeah, we should probably stop huffing asbestos dust, all right? Stop like putting asbestos chunks in our blenders and like sucking up all of all of those little bits in the air. We should probably stop doing that. Stop complaining, Mel. Let people do what they want to do. If they want to huff asbestos dust, I'm gonna still be losing my mind. Still as loudly as possible. I cannot abide. I'm not an adult yet to talk politics, but I'm a socialist progressive person. It seems I got it from a politics quiz. Yeah. Again, technology is going to enable, I believe, a whole new way of governing, right? Like we don't have the words. Libertarian is one of my favorite because it's decentralized. It's like the government's job is to serve you. That's its only job. That's what it does. That's literally it. Anything else, hands the fuck off. If I want your help, I can come to you for help. If I don't want your help, I can keep to myself. And you don't put your filthy little fingers in my life. Leave me the fuck alone. Right? I feel like that's my libertarian view. Right? Because again, especially living in a country with the amount of corruption that I've experienced, that's the only reasonable conclusion to come to, right? Like our country has been external, let's go say extreme profanities, our country, right, and people, all of our people, right, not just one color, unfortunately, as well. Like the metrics for quality of life in South Africa are the worst that they've ever been, right, since like we started keeping record, at least. It's kind of bonkers. It's unfortunate. I'm also more on the liberal side too. Listen, as an American, I believe international decentralization, like very, very small towns joined together to be independent and governing themselves, and those who can support themselves being self sufficient, they could merge with other states. Yeah. I do not understand what you're saying and where you're coming from. Um, with the whole like financial cancer thing, or the mic, like the, or do you mean the friend above? You don't understand where they're coming from. I'd merge with other states. That was the question about accountability. Accountability is not the same as awareness. Also true. It's not even about accountability. It's more about as soon as you know that there's a problem, you can start looking for a solution. But as long as you're unwilling to admit there's any problem, you will forever be content, right? Like there is almost like a certain urgency that arises in you once you realize there's a problem, like asbestos, right? If you realize, if you find out, for example, asbestos gives you cancer, right? And you have children and you built your house out of asbestos, if you're a good dad, you should have this sense of urgency created in you of like, oh shit, I need to do something about this, right? And that's where the understanding comes from. That's where the understanding serves you. You're right, Melt. It does need to serve us and our needs. Exactly. That's literally all it's there for. Nearly every American would agree with your media framing of people's perspective is very blurred. I do understand. I think he said, I do. No, I understand. Oh, okay, makes sense as well. I hear you, Kiefer. Love is true. We've already been here for a full hour, technically longer than we're usually streaming in the vertical streamings. But I'm gonna now show you yesterday's flower, and then we'll read the poem. This is what we were working with yesterday. Yeah, yeah. How about some responses that have been elicited? How about that? It's almost like there's magic in art. Ooh la la, yeah. I think he said so much love. That's better than the usual flowers. How dare you? Consent. I'm joking. Well, I'll show you one more time. It's not better, it's another piece. Each one of my flowers is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. I'll have you know. Don't you listen to him. Don't you listen to him. You're perfect. All of you are almost. There's magic here. It's better. Okay. Now I'll read you the poem it went. Did someone say magic? I did, I think. The Weight of Knowing. This poem is called. 51's inside. The top looks like soul guardians, like four of them guarding the flower. I'm happy that you saw those entities. He's talking about those ones. Those dudes. A little soul guardians. Hey, judge you. Love is true. The weight of knowing. Can you handle the weight of knowing? Let's find out. Once I moved through shadows, content with echoes, blind to the walls I call the world. I mistook the flicker of passing flames for the sun. Then came the question, small as a whisper, loud as a revolution. What if the world is more than I know? To learn is to unshackle, to break the illusion block by block. to stand in the raw brilliance of truth, no longer prisoner, but architect. Knowledge carves pathways where none existed, draws maps on the palms of the willing, teaches the mind to dance between wonder and reason, turns fear into fuel, turns silence into speech. I was told power is something you take, something hoarded in towers of steel. But now I see power is something you grow, a fire passed from one hand to another, a weightless gift heavy with change. And so I seek not to own it all, but to understand. Because once you have seen, you cannot go back. I love how it just happens that yesterday's poem perfectly syncs into what we happen to talk about that day. I mean, I might be stuck in an infinity loop or something, but yeah, yeah, it's all of that, right? The weight of knowing. Didn't have time to attend your streams for the past few days. That's very wisdomic. I appreciate you, friends. Nice, Mel. Love to you, Nancy. I appreciate you, friends, for joining me. This stream shall now come to its end. Melty needs a larger audience. It feels selfish to keep him all to ourselves. We have intimate interactions with a creature that should dance with the masses. We're lucky like that. In that way, River Coon, I'm lucky too. I might not be earning the money that would come with dancing with the masses, but I am earning the soul that comes with being amongst friends day after day. Right? And in that way, right, what would I want more? Would I want a massive audience that I feel alienated from? Right? It's me and it's them, right? The audience and myself. Or it's us as friends showing up day by day in this space. You friends showing up with me is proof, is truth to the value that I'm trying to create. And the fact that you friends show up for it means that literally, because of you, it has more value than without. I appreciate your friends. I thank you for joining me again, and I hope you have the most beautiful day, one filled with joy and splendor and kindness towards yourself and others. I love you. And if you want to see some more, I'm going to do a horizontal stream for a hot second. I love you, friends. I appreciate you being here. Cheers. Love you.